I will show you how to achieve a clear perception of life's continuous flow, freeing yourself from being stranded on the banks of old ideas, so you can live with a light and present soul. The purpose of this gathering is your spiritual awakening through the acceptance of the now. Trying to return to how things were is an invisible prison that consumes your vital energy. The emotional cost of ignoring fluidity is drowning in regrets that do not belong to your current time. After long years of observing the flow of life, I realized the beauty that exists in moving forward, without the illusion of a past that has already served its purpose and exists only in memory. Perhaps you feel that letting go is losing a part of yourself, but the truth is that you are not broken. You are simply in transformation. This video is an invitation for you to disarm your resistance and learn, in just a few minutes, the art of flowing into your own essence. Observe the image of a river that never stops. Often, in our journey of personal development, we make the mistake of trying to build a house upon the water, believing we can fix a moment that has already passed. Life demands fluidity so that we don't get stuck in a what if that paralyzes us. As the Stoicism of Marcus Aurelius teaches us, the universe is transformation and life is opinion. If we change our perception of what we have lost, we will discover that the flow never abandons us. We are the ones who, at times, stop swimming. And it is precisely this effort of stopping our swimming that keeps us stuck, trying to find solid ground in a place where life has already moved on. We need to understand why our hearts insist on building walls in a territory that is, by nature, a path. The human mind has an unconscious pattern of suffering, the attempt to return to what used to be. We create a fixed bank in our thoughts, an idealized point in the past where we believe we were happy or complete. However, this riverbank is an invisible prison. In spiritual awakening, we understand that rigidity is the path of pain. Stoicism reminds us that nothing is permanent except change. When you cling to an old version of yourself, you deny the life that is pulsing right now, in your hands. Nostalgia is not a safe harbor. It is an anchor that prevents your boat from discovering new oceans. Validating your pain is necessary, but recognizing that the landscape has changed is the first step toward emotional healing. Life does not move backward, and the river does not return to its source. In this inevitable journey toward the new, it is natural for the path of our destiny to meet resistance. We often look at difficulties as mistakes along the way, but ancient wisdom teaches us that the river does not see the stone as an enemy, but as a teacher of new directions. Along the way, we encounter obstacles, large rocks, sudden drops, stretches of drought. In African philosophy, we learn that the river is not ashamed of the stones it encounters. It flows around them and, in that process, gains strength and new courses. Difficulties are not interruptions of your purpose, but rather what teaches the river how to change its way of passing through. Every scar you carry is a record of a curve you have overcome. In ancient wisdom, we understand that we are part of a collective flow. The concept of Ubuntu reminds us that I am because we are, and this includes our connection with nature and its resilience. Integrating your pains as part of your learning is transforming pain into wisdom and continuity. Stones do not stop the river. They give it its voice and its song. This melody that life composes through obstacles prepares us for the moments when the path seems to fold back on itself. What hurried eyes call an abyss or the end of the line, the awakened spirit recognizes as a necessary curve to change its own vibration. Sometimes, life imposes a sharp turn on us, something we call loss. It could be grief, a separation, or the end of a professional cycle. But, from a perspective of deep spirituality, loss is actually a change in frequency. Imagine that your soul is a melody that needs new notes to continue being beautiful. These phases of apparent emptiness are necessary curves in the bed of the soul so that new potentials of consciousness can be accessed. As Jung would say, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms you. When we stop seeing the curve as an end and start seeing it as a new direction, fear dissolves into the holy curiosity of discovering who we will become after the crossing. To navigate these curves without getting lost in fear, you need something that goes beyond logic, a gentle confidence that supports every step. It is an invisible sweetness that whispers to us that we are not alone and that the flow knows, before we do, where we are being taken. There is a silent force working behind the scenes of our existence. It is not a religious imposition, but a spiritual sweetness that allows the being to move forward with clean hands. It is faith understood as trust in the flow. This sweetness sustains us when the waters are murky. It teaches us that we do not need to beg for the past nor implore for returns that no longer serve our evolution. In African philosophy and Stoicism, active acceptance is not passivity. It is the courage to walk with dignity, knowing that the universe listens to you when you learn to listen to yourself. Keeping a steady pace, even when we cannot see the river's mouth, is the greatest exercise in personal development we can practice. It is kindness toward the now that disarms any anxiety about the future. This kindness prepares us for the most sacred moment of the journey, the instant we stop being an isolated stream to become the vastness. It is here that the river discovers it never needed banks to be whole, only the courage to surrender to its final destiny. The final destination of every river is the meeting with the sea, the mouth. The secret of this encounter is total surrender. To make your path a more beautiful river, you must practice absolute presence in the now. Understand a liberating truth. What is truly yours does not need to return, because it never left you in essence. What remains is your capacity to love, to create, and to be. The invitation today is for a soul willing to flow into its own essence, without the weight of carrying baggage that the water has already washed away. When you stop fighting against the current of reality, you finally discover that the current itself is what is taking you home. In this journey of spiritual awakening, we have traveled through the waters of acceptance and fluidity. Now, I invite you to a brief practice of reconnection. Breathe deeply and visualize your hands open. Imagine that in them lies clear water, representing your present moment. Feel the temperature, the freshness. Now, let that water slip gently through your fingers. Do not try to hold on to it. Notice that, by letting go, you do not lose the water. You simply allow it to continue its natural cycle. And what if the curve you fear so much today is actually the only possible path to the sea of peace you have always sought? If these words touched something within you, perhaps it is time to take one more step on this path of rediscovering your inner truth. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue receiving content that nourishes the soul with presence and authenticity. Share in the comments what resonated with your heart. Your story might be the mirror that someone else needed to find. If you are looking for a safe harbor, know that our community is the sanctuary where fertile silence is shared and deepened. Peace and light.